and welcome to Eastvale Crime Watch and Reporting Page. Today, we are honored to be able to sit down and interview the Mayor of the City of Eastvale, Mr. Brandon Plott. We know there have been a number of questions in our community about the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. At the crime page, we believe that it's important to deal with facts and not rumors or innuendos, and that's why we have asked the mayor if he would be willing to sit down with us today. Mayor Plott, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having this with me. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you so much. So my first question right out of the bat would be, how is the city responding to COVID-19?
Well, COVID-19, as we've been able to be following the media at all and the news on this, is that it's very, very fluid. It's not even, it would be slow to say that it's day by day. It's really hour by hour as far as updates that are there. So our city staff, our city leaders, we're constantly in communication with Riverside County health officials, getting clear direction and being consulted on day by day, hour by hour of the issues pertaining to the COVID-19 virus. So we're doing everything as a city possible to protect, our goal is to protect the residents of Eastvale, to make sure we create the safest environment possible in our city.
That's a great answer. So I know the question that is probably on everybody's mind right now: are there any current cases of COVID-19 in the city of Eastvale?
Yeah, so currently right now there are no confirmed cases. However, in light of kind of some news that kind of popped up yesterday on our social media outlets, or social media outlets in general, there's been what appears to be a confirmed case. Some people have asked, I've had emails, text messages, IMs, hey, why isn't the city reporting that? And I think this will be a good time to use this platform to be able to explain as to why. In these situations, there are processes in place. So the gentleman that claimed to have the coronavirus or COVID-19 obviously gets treated by a physician, and that doctor then, once it's found that it is accurate that person does have COVID-19, and that doctor then reports that over to the CDC. So what we as a city need to wait on is to wait for the CDC or the county to then confirm the case if that is it. So that is in essence what we are waiting for, is to have a confirmed case that is reported by the proper channels, and that is either the CDC or the county. And it would be, I guess the word I would be looking for, it would just be not right. It would be the wrong precedent to set if all of a sudden the city is going out and saying, yes, there's a confirmed case, without going through the proper governing channels to confirm cases. And that is it. That is the reason why. And so what is important, that sometimes social media can get answers if that is true and that is accurate, that we may be known to it. But either way, if there's a confirmed case that does happen, or ultimately what could happen, there may be several confirmed cases. And that's not to scare anybody, but nevertheless, what we do as residents will remain the same. And that is following the mandates from the CDC, from our federal government, from the state, from the county, to provide proper health and safety to ourselves, right? That's washing our hands thoroughly. The message that you guys are all aware of: washing hands thoroughly, not shaking hands, using other ways to greet, covering your mouth while coughing, not touching your face, things like that. So those are the things that we need to be focusing on and to be doing.
So to piggyback on your point, Mayor, it's not if someone's going to catch the coronavirus, it's basically when.
Yeah.
We know this is spreading rapidly throughout our cities, not our city, but maybe our state and county and across our nation. And so we need to be calm as a community. And I think another important thing for the residents, I hope that you picked up that we're dealing with a number of different entities here. We're dealing with a private physician. We're dealing with government red tape, from going from a private hospital or a private physician to a county agency to a federal agency and then back to a municipality. So people, you need to understand there is a lot of steps there, and the city is being very responsible not to get ahead of this and create unnecessary fear, especially if it wasn't factual. And this isn't to say someone wouldn't put something out there factual, but it's just the proper protocol. So how does this impact the city's operations, Brandon?
Yeah, and this may be a good example of how fluid it is. So yesterday the council met, yesterday being Sunday, the council had met and we had determined that we were going to keep the city hall doors open to the public with various restrictions on how residents could come in and operate through our services. Within that same 24-hour period, certain things had happened, and so our consultants, and one of them, I kind of put his name here just to make sure I got it right, is our EMS bureau chief, which is Gadamith, and basically got new information relating to the COVID-19 virus, which led us to now shut down our city hall doors. However, city services will still be available to the public. Will just be closed physically to the public. So there's little nuances, and that's a great example of how fluid this is. So it's definitely impacted, but we're working around it. We're being consulted on what are the best practices, and what I'm saying today could be very much different tomorrow. And so, but we're working together and trying to stay as effective as possible to keep business flowing, but also making sure that our city staff, our residents, are working in an environment that is safe.
So, Mayor, how exactly would this affect CAL FIRE or law enforcement? Are we still going to be able to utilize 911? Are they going to respond to calls?
Yes, to answer your question, yes. So both of those agencies will be able to respond, and we will still have those services.
So if there is a state of emergency declared or something, they are still going to be able to
That is correct.
Work with us.
And to reiterate on that, we have not yet declared any type of state of emergency. Again, just talking to our consultants and other officials, we haven't reached to that point to do that. So we're not at that situation yet, or at least in this time.
Very good. We understand that throughout the nation, different mandates are being requested that bars and gyms and things like that close. We're hearing right now as we're doing these interviews that up north, a number of cities are basically shutting down. We've heard that in other nations. How is this going to financially impact our city?
Yeah, so let me if I'm just taking a step back on your questions, kind of multiple questions to that question. Yeah, just currently from what I just actually got off a work call, it was unrelated to government, but a work call letting us know that there was, I believe, 7 counties up in Northern California that have been shut down. And so when we talk about, that may not be the same mandate that Governor Newsom has put out there. The mandate, or what really wasn't the mandate, but more or less provided guidance to what restaurants, bars should do. And those are just guidance, they're not mandates. So outside of LA County, because they actually closed down, I know it'd be kind of confusing, this LA County is closing down, but in Riverside County right now, bars and restaurants, things of that nature, they are just basically following a guidance from Governor Newsom. So it is not a mandate necessarily. Now that, again, that can change. That could be effective change by the governor. It could be an effective change by the county, Riverside County, to do that. So, but yeah, it's if we're having this conversation of dialogue, I like to take the approach of very real talk, and it will impact the economy. I don't know how it wouldn't, right? So, and people are already being impacted by it. What's important is that, and I'll probably say it several times while we're talking today, is to keep a cool head, right? Be prepared, keep a cool head, and to make sure that we're doing all things necessary to either protect ourselves and do those things. So, but yeah, to answer your question, our private institutions, our restaurants, our local businesses, there's going to be an impact felt.
Would the city ever consider declaring a state of emergency separate from that of the county or the state?
Yeah, I don't want to answer that question directly until there be proper consulting, again, from the proper officials that would help the city to put that. But to answer that, I can't answer that question as of right now, until we were directed otherwise.
That's very fair. Recently, in the last 2 weeks, we've seen lines at Costco, empty bread shelves, empty milk shelves, and things like that. I know people are nervous right now. What reassuring words from all the subject matter experts you've had the privilege to talk to can you give the citizens to let them know that this is going to be okay?
Yeah, I'll take a step back. I'm not a medical professional at practice, but the one thing that we need to understand is these mandates and restrictions on our nation, and particularly for our city, right? I'm talking to the residents of Eastvale. These are situations to curb the virus. And for me, when I think about it, and I think about that is the goal at hand, to curb the virus, right? To avoid any peaks, to avoid any longevity or progression of the virus, somehow to slowly dismantle it or at least have control over it. To me, it puts my mind at ease, right? If that is the goal at hand, right? Then again, do the things that we're doing. Be prepared, not panic, right? Don't overbuy things that you don't need to overbuy, right? We have plenty of food and plenty of things to provide. The problem is places like Costco, Ralph's, Vaughn's, they don't have enough time to reshelve and restock everything. So let's be considerate as residents. Again, I mentioned the phrase that I love using a lot. It's a phrase I've used for years, and that's just cool heads will prevail. And that's just doing our part to make sure that we just need the things that we need, right, to sustain ourselves. So I don't know if that helps answer your question. I don't know if
I think that's an excellent answer. I do know that many residents have commented how proud they are of our city council, our city manager, and our city team on how they're handling this with level heads, and I think you should be commended for that. Residents, we need to understand this is uncharted waters. Nothing like this has ever happened, especially since social media has taken place. And these are things that we are going to remember the rest of our lives, and we are going to be able to tell our future grandchildren or children, wherever you happen to be. So, Brandon, what is the future of Eastvale?
The future's bright. Look, this is a challenge. This is a very difficult time, and it's a challenge, right? But I think there any circumstance that you have, whether it's an individual challenge, right now we're being challenged as a city, right, as residents together collectively. But whatever the situation may be, it may not even be about the coronavirus. It could be something you're dealing with personally, right? Anytime you have those challenges or those difficulties, it's an opportunity to grow, right? And I don't want to sound like a motivational speaker. That's not what I'm trying to say. But the reality is that these are times where you can take these opportunities and actually grow from them, right? Learn from them, right? I think the way you combat this thing is coming together, helping each other out. And I think there's plenty of examples. There's better great examples than bad examples in our city. A lot more good examples of what's going right in this situation. And I think as a city, focusing on those examples, helping those that maybe aren't able to, whether it's the elderly or less fortunate, to be able to help them out, right? Those are things that help us grow. Those are the wins and the little victories that we need to help us grow, right? And when we look back on this time, and we look back on all the challenges that came up from this virus, it's not just the virus itself, but the other challenge to this is the public perception of the virus. It's another entire challenge to this, and it actually probably causes more of the larger problem. The coronavirus itself is a huge problem, but so is the public perception of the virus. And so when we look back and we can actually help each other, and we can demonstrate charity and just be kind to one another, those are the things that lead us to victory, right? Those are the things that help us overcome the circumstances that we're in. And we will. We'll absolutely kick this. We'll grow from it. And I'm very optimistic. I'm confident in that approach. Again, it's about curbing the virus. And with that being said, I'm confident that that'll get done.
Can you share with our friends any success stories? I know there's a lot going on out there.
Yeah, well,
we're doing this on one take.
Let me clear my throat real quick.
We're trying to do this so we're both taking in liquid every now and then. So,
I'm going to give you the platform, Don, for a little bit. But yeah, there's plenty of successes. I think, going back to the Neighborhood Watch program that you, myself, and Todd Rigby created, we kind of had it in mind. And again, I would like to say that the Neighborhood Watch program is probably in its 7-8-year-old type stage where it's it's not physically 7-8 years old, but it's kind of in that it's very young still, right? But I think we're past the toddler infancy stage. But to see what is going on with the main crime page, with the Neighborhood Watch outlets that are there, there's so many awesome stories. I think you probably have about 100+ connecting stories, meaning people that maybe have a surplus or just have enough of something, right? Whatever that may be, diapers or toilet paper or water, whatever the case may be, because it's hard to get toilet paper right now, right? Mm-hmm. So someone may just be naturally just running out. We're able to connect, actually, specifically you and your admin team, Mike G, Eric, and David, are able to connect people together to make that bond and that connection. Hey, yeah, I'll drop off a supply at your front doorstep. That right there is the success that we're looking for, right? The EOG system that was created. And so you have far more knowledge into it, so I don't know if you want to take it, but yeah, I think it's awesome. That's the stuff we need to focus on.
So when Todd, myself, and Brandon were working out the Neighborhood Watch program, it was determined that we wanted to build something that was completely different than anywhere else. We wanted it to be a platform, excuse me, within a community where a number of things, kind of like a wheel, and there would be a number of spokes, is kind of how the analogy that our city manager, Brian, had put it, where we would be able to help people through CERT, we would be able to communicate through emergency radios. We knew that we might be able to help each other through an earthquake. And to be honest, not one of us thought that Neighborhood Watch would be utilized during a pandemic within our nation. But it has provided an excellent platform. And like Brandon said, this morning we have seen over 110 connections where people have given from kindness and out of their abundance to others in need. We're talking everything from baby wipes, formula, eggs, bread, diapers, and it's been given free. All that someone has to do is ask, and it's been delivered, and we've made these connections throughout. And the great thing is, everybody is just doing it out of love. It is that we are truly Eastvale strong, and you're seeing a lot of the good that's in our community. The other thing that we're extremely honored and we are blessed to have in our city is a number of house of worships that are willing to partner and come alongside. We are now in conversation with a number of churches who are stepping up and utilizing the EOG. And the EOG can be found in the announcements section of the crime page. So as soon as you open it, hit announcements, and there's information there. All that you have to do is scroll down and you can see requests for things and people who have given things. There are also people that are posting things that they have in abundance that might help others. We've seen diabetic patients be able to get hand sanitizer. We've seen people who are on dialysis or have just been recovering from cancer be able to get sanitized wipes. So we are doing a lot as a community, and that's because of our strong Neighborhood Watch programs. And each one of you need to pat yourself on the back on how this is going. And it's very proud that as a community we're doing it. And that's what really needs to be done. That makes the difference when a community does it versus being dependent on government. And we can't be more proud of you. The city council is extremely proud of every member in the community who's stepping up and doing this. So what can residents exactly do, Mayor Plott, to protect themselves through this?
Yeah, again, the CDC's came out with certain not mandates, but just things that we should do, right, to protect ourselves. A, wash your hands thoroughly. You know, the talk's been about 20, 30 seconds under warm water. Avoid shaking hands with anybody, right? You can always kind of do the elbow bump kind of thing. That can work. Keeping you know, the proper distances. Covering mouth while coughing, right? Whether it's through your elbow or through a napkin or tissue, things like that, right? Cleaning surfaces, cleaning doorknobs, things like that. So there's a lot of things, right? Proper ventilation in certain rooms, right? You don't want to be enclosed in certain rooms, right? Maybe have better ventilation, open the windows up a little bit. So those type of things are good practices to have. And if you do, you know, God forbid you do have, the COVID-19, right? Then obviously self-quarantine, and if it's even worse than that, then hospitalization is the proper route to go. But those are the things that we need to do in practice to practice, our safety in this time.
One other thing that we've been asked, if you believe that you have the COVID-19 and you are calling for an emergency service, whether it be fire or police, please identify your concern with the dispatcher. And they will probably be asking you that right off, but in case they don't, please let them know you believe you have this, and then they're going to go through a protocol. Do you have a fever, along with some other symptoms? That way, our first responders can also protect themselves. And the other thing is, don't automatically rush to a hospital or a medical center if you feel you're ill. That's the number one place you're going to find germs, is in a hospital. So your best bet would be to contact your physician, explain to them. As we've heard the president, they are allowing more video conferencing of doctors so that we do not have to go into a medical center if it's not necessary. Count on your professional physician to give you the advice on what you need to do to respond to your virus, your disease, or your current condition. So those are primarily, Mayor Plott, the things that have been brought up in our city. Do you want to give any final closing statements to our community?
Yeah, real quick. I took time because, again, I I mean, I know on Saturday we did on Saturday we did a kind of a statement and putting out a video, and it's a scripted statement, right? That myself and staff came up with to write. But there's a couple other things that residents brought up. I didn't know what all the questions are already brought up, so I was gonna, if you don't mind, I kind of had some notes here and kind of there's other questions. So one of the questions I got was about private institutions, meaning some of our daycare facilities that aren't related to K through 12. Again, I'll just take the time to answer. There was a statement that was out by our public health officer at the County of Riverside, Dr. Kaiser. And I'll actually just read off the statement about that. And I'll just go. The order issued by me on March 13th. Again, this is March 14th's new statement, so he's replying to some on March 13th. Under my statutory authority as Riverside County Public Health Officer, closing educational institutions in the county includes preschools. However, the preschools the order is intended to target are those primarily affiliated with the public school system, such as a Head Start, daycares, as well as those with a private preschool program not affiliated with any public entity or district, including your facility, based on the information you have indicated to the Department of Public Health, are not closed by this order. So again, there are some private institutions that are able to operate and function. We are monitoring that close as a city to see what other steps that could be taken if there are serious issues. But that is something that has been brought up to my attention. I feel is worth warranting in this discussion. Again, there's been one other question I'll bring up is in price gouging. Right, I have not heard of any incident in Eastvale of price gouging. I've heard of certain scenarios in Ontario that's happened. Again, that is a violation of our penal code 396. Sorry, so that is against the law. So that's something you can absolutely report if you see type of price gouging. With that, my last and final statement is this, and that is, in this time, it is crucially important, right? We have to respect what is happening, right? We have to respect the virus at hand, right, and not downplay it, right? Respect what's going on, right? Treat it as that, but probably just as important is we need to stay calm and collect. That is vitally important for us and for our success as a city and our ability to overcome, right? And the way I look at that is the best way, if you ever want to feel good about yourself or you want to help others. That is literally the true answer to anything. You want to feel good about yourself, you want to do well, or you want to be able to kick this. Let's unite, come together. There's a platform there, right? And what's funny is I'm not even talking about what government's doing, right? I'm talking about what residents are doing, and all we're doing is just connecting residents together through the page. That's where we win, right? Government will handle the government things that we need to do to keep the city safe. But if real action I think is taken where you can really make the biggest impact is doing good. Going out and being the best version of yourself that you can be. And this is the best challenge because right now we're going to see it. We're going to see another mandate, another little stiffer mandate, and it's going to happen. It will happen the next couple of days. I don't know how it's going to be, where, in what form it's going to be, but it's going to happen, right? And whenever we get that extra mandate, all of a sudden something kind of clicks and it's we're a little more nervous, we're a little more restless. Challenge yourselves to step up and get out of that restlessness and just be positive, help each other. Let's promote it. I have seen in our city so many success stories. I want to multiply those success stories. I want to see everyone come together. That's how you kick this thing, and that's how you curb it, right? You curb it through that, and you curb it through the proper CDC mandates of what we need to be doing to keep ourselves clean. At the end of the day, and I'll say it once again, right? I know we'll look back on this time and we'll say, wow, that was a kind of a crazy experience, but I'm glad we got through it. And this is what I've learned from these experiences, right? And at the end of the day, as we all know, cool heads will always prevail, right? And that will always be, that has always been the answer in our lifetime. And so that's kind of all I have, at least in conclusion. I appreciate, Don, you giving me the opportunity to answer some questions. Again, if I didn't answer your questions out there, I'm very, very approachable. So is our council. You can reach out to your council member. You can reach out to me. If there's any specific questions that you feel like, hey, I was dodging something or whatever, or you want to ask me, you can feel free to ask me. I'll answer any questions. I'm very open to help out. But I appreciate the platform giving me, because though I like to do scripted comments, I also like to just be given the free rein to discuss however you want to talk about it. I move my hands a lot, so I apologize. But thank you again for the time.
Thank you. We do have 5 excellent council members. We've talked about that before. And each one of them are more than willing to give up their time, answer your questions, and they each are very approachable. And they all 5 of them want what is best for our city. A couple things as we close, I want to remind you that our police officers and our firefighters are very well trained subject matter experts and responder professionals who are used to dealing with maybe not COVID-19, but they're used to dealing with situations like this, and they will handle it appropriately, and where others won't go, they will. One other note that I'd like to remind you, I'd like to ask each one of you to log in, find the city's website, put that on your bookmark page, and find their social media pages and follow them. They have a special COVID-19 section on their webpage, and they are updating stuff as quickly as possible. And that is where you are going to get factual information. Don't rely on social media pages for the dead-on facts, because sometimes it's going to be rumor. You want to make sure you're hearing it directly from the source, and that's the advice we'd like to give. Please continue to go to the Emergency Operation Giving section of the crime page. Thank you to all the House of Worships that are coming on board and helping. Thank you to the over 100 people in the community who have already donated, and to the many more who have signed up to help the seniors in need within our community. We truly have a great city. City of the Eastvale is one that is looked upon by others as an example on how to run a city. We are Eastvale strong, and I consider it an honor to call City of Eastvale my home.